how to actually recover from burnout. It would be really easy for me to say, just rest and recover. But one of the big things that I have to do in the therapeutic space is actually teaching people how to rest. So part of the reason that people burn out is that they ignore their symptoms. Stress ends up turning to anxiety. They ignore the stress, they push through the anxiety, and they end up burnt out. And I like to describe it as burnout is the injury before something major happens. So what I find is that when people don't address the burnout, it ends up turning into depression or something much harder to get out of. So a really good analogy for this is thinking about it as a physical injury. If you pushed through a really hard season of life, and if you were an athlete and you pushed through a hard season, you might end up with a sprain. If you don't rest and recover that sprain, that might turn into a torn ligament or a worse injury, so you have to rest it and you're forced to rest it. Burnout is the symptoms and your mind and your body saying rest. But the kind of people who push through anxiety, stress, and end up burnt out really have a hard time resting. And so my work in the therapeutic space is helping you understand, why do you have a trouble with rest? What is your relationship with perfection based on your anxiety personality type? And of course, if you don't know this, you can take our free quiz, because often there is some attachment or trauma or some kind of driver underneath, messaging and conditioning that you would have got as a child or as a person. And a lot of the time it looks something like you only got praise, love, and affection when you achieved something. You were told that rest was lazy, or you never saw your parents being leisurely and just taking the time in to enjoy life. You never really traveled or just sat together and did something without doing. So I find that a lot of people who experience burnout are so used to being human doings rather than human beings. So to summarize, how would you recover from burnout? It's not just easy as rest and recovery. It's learning how to rest when you are a goer, a doer, an achiever. So it's untangling that so that you can learn how to rest, learn how to recover, learn how to regulate your nervous system, and learn how to listen to your body and your mind and your soul when it's begging you, please take a break, so that we don't end up in a pit that's harder to get out of than this burnout right now.